Boom! Welcome back to the channel, guys. As you can see from all the vans here behind me, I'm at Sunshine State RV. Today, we're going to talk about vans for sure, but we're going to do something a little different when it comes to vans. We're going to talk about the batteries, lithium batteries that goes in there. Exactly what are they and how are they made? You know what? Let's see if we can find Nick and we'll get all into this right now. And look, there he is. We have found Nick Schmidt of Sunshine State RVs. Nick,
yes.
Thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir.
What is this behind us here?
This is a Coachmen Nova.
Okay.
This is what they make on the Dodge ProMaster chassis. It's about 20 feet long. This is the rear bath model. They make two models, a C and a rear bath. This is the one that has the big bathroom in the back.
Okay, and we're doing this specifically so that you guys could take a look at a Lithionics setup, right?
Yeah, no, Coachmen uses Lithionics for all their lithium batteries. And it's pretty cool. You know, I was telling Hank earlier that people that have owned RVs for the last, 20, 30 years, they always ask me, Nick, what is the biggest advancement in RVs in the last 5 years? What's the biggest thing, the biggest difference between my 2012 Road Trek, whatever, Pleasure Way, whatever RV, and a brand new one? And I always say one thing, the lithium.
Yep.
The lithium is the single biggest difference because it changes the way you RV.
It's the heart of the coach.
It changes everything.
Right.
So I actually just went and found a drill.
Yes, you actually did your
I found the drill.
Your own
I
work.
Dug into this stuff.
Yeah.
Just to show you. Oh, check it out right there. See,
there you go.
When you see that on a Coachman, you know it has the Lithionics lithium package.
Yeah.
But,
so people always ask us about that, and I figured we'll do a video where we specifically talk about the battery questions.
yeah, of course.
It's going to start here, but it's not going to end here.
So lithium is the single biggest difference in RVs over the last probably 7 years. 2014, 15 is really when it started getting popular. Lithionics jumped on board. I don't know when. Last few years, but Coachman's been using them, and it is a phenomenal system. It will run this air conditioner, that TV, every light in here for 8 hours. And some people are always a little scared of technology.
Right.
Always a little scared of it. But what I will tell you is when you buy one that has a great system, like a Lithionics, like a Coachman unit, you don't have to do anything. Really, you turn it on and you use it.
Yep.
You manage your power, obviously, and then when you're ready, you charge it up, you drive it, solar, plug it in, 3 different ways to charge it, and then you turn it off and you use it again. There's no like fancy things you have to do to use it, very simple, very easy, but yet it does everything you want. Whether you're at a campground, whether you're boondocking, whether you're in your son's driveway camping for the night while they're in their house, whatever you want to do, lithium gives you the freedom to do it, Hank.
Yeah, and it's very important that it's difficult for you to kill it.
It is very so this right here, you see that word right there? Never die. Never die.
So
this is the BMS. That stands for Battery Management System. So this is the brain behind this battery.
Yeah. So
this
basically
big
the
box.
battery here is this system. Here's the actual battery.
That big red box.
Take a look at it here, and then obviously you've got these big wires coming out of it.
Yes.
And the battery management system. This is probably an inverter right here that you guys can see
inverter
right
here.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sandtrax inverter.
Yeah. It's all complicated, so we need to go to the experts.
You need to go to the experts. I know nothing else about it. I know how to use one of these.
You barely know how to use it.
Barely. I took out 3 screws.
Look, his guys are going to be like, Nick, you're making problems. You're making problems that didn't exist for us. But I wanted Nick to do this intro because I actually went to Lithionics.
You didn't invite me.
They're right here in Florida. Yeah, that's true.
Dude, what's up with that?
I just realized that.
I mean, I bought you lunch today.
I saw them when I was hanging out with you at the Tampa show.
You didn't even invite me. It's all right.
I saw them when I was hanging out with you.
Revenge.
Oh boy.
Revenge.
Yeah. So right now we're gonna go to Lithionics right here in Florida, and we're gonna give you guys a tour, answer all your questions.
Yeah.
Get right into it.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Lithionics Battery.
Steve, how's it going?
Hank, come on in.
Good seeing you again.
Long last, Walter.
My friend Walter.
Thank you, sir. Come on in this way.
Dirtfoot Racing.
All right. Well, I noticed that little Fiat. Is that a little Fiat
Oh yeah.
car right there?
Oh yeah, I have an Abarth.
I just sold my Abarth.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's a cool car. It's a hooligan car.
Yeah.
So this is our factory. You're going to be the first to see our new factory add-on. And you probably noticed that we're featuring, for your visit, the Coachmen Galleria, the trio.
Yes.
And
I have a Beyond right here. Very nice. And of course Nova and the Galleria. I had a Galleria for about a week here with your system in
they're
it.
pioneers. So you've got small format batteries. You have large format batteries that are designed to run air conditioner for hours on end. So these guys pioneered large format batteries. Road Trek had a pretty large format battery before they went Chapter 11, but Coachmen was the first to do what we call the ion gen, but Nick wanted Li-gen. So you notice we use ion gen, but he created his own logo called Li-gen. You see the Li3, which is on all the Coachmen. So we're going to show you all of the products that go into the Coachmen product. So
Right, and I noticed, like, you know, you had to put a little sticker on here because now it's up to 630 amp hours.
Right, but it went from 165 pounds,
Right.
something that I need to do. We shed 20 pounds, so we're now down to
nice.
144, and then by the end of the year,
shed 20 pounds myself.
you and I both.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Nice.
let's go through the factory.
All right, yeah. Thanks for letting us actually take a look at the factory.
All right,
Which way
good.
we going?
So we're going to go in the hallway first.
Steve, you're the CEO of Lithionics?
Yep, started the company 12 years ago.
Okay.
So what you see here is these are some of our patents and trademarks. We have an apprenticeship program that we created to bring men and women, young people, older people, through a training program to become a certified technician, a master technician. So everybody starts as an apprentice, and then they've got 3 pages worth of skills that once they prove them, they move into journeyman, and then they become a master tech. And so because we've got about 20 assembly technicians here, they know what raises they can get, but it's all about proficiency and gaining knowledge. You can't go to school for this. You have to teach people. So if you want to be a USA factory, you've got to train people.
Right.
If you come this way, you can see some of the training certificates, just some of the examples. I used to work in Japan, and this is Kaizen training, but today it's called Lean Six Sigma. So we have a certified black belt trainer to teach lean thinking and waste elimination, so we can continue to build on U.S. soil. My office is that way, but we're going to go this way. This is our engineering lab, so we'll go through.
Just how much of what actually winds up in a van, let's say, do you guys make?
So there's 100 items. Of 100 items, 99 are made in the USA.
Okay.
So we use Texas Instruments and Atmel microprocessors, all the bus bars, the wire harnesses. Because this is a big military industrial area, we've got places like Honeywell and where you see the big GE factory across the facility. We can get anything made within a 50-mile radius of this. So wire harnesses. Now our UL fireproof, crash-proof enclosures are made just about 10 miles up the road.
Okay.
So those are all special laser welded, powder coated. Everything is done locally. So
Oh, cool. I didn't realize Clearwater was like a hub.
no,
for
you
this
thought it
kind
was
of
all
stuff.
about the beach.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you come on down this way, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that work here, but I'm going to favor engineering.
Okay.
And we'll come on in this way.
All right.
All right, good. All right, everybody. This is Hank, Lola, and
guys.
Walter.
Morning.
So I'll start this way.
Hey,
This
guys,
is James, is a mechanical engineer.
Hey, James.
And he focuses on what we call the form factor. He does the aluminum enclosure. And Chris has been with me also for about 10 years, and he is a combination electrical, electromechanical, and CAD engineer. He designs the laser welded lithium cores that we use. So we use large format lithium versus the small format on the smaller batteries. And Nick is a master's in electrical engineering. He just graduated about a year or so ago. And so because we have so much electronics in our batteries, like the Bluetooth app, which we can show you how that works, he works with our laboratory in Sacramento, California. So he's a liaison, and we've also got code writers in the Ukraine. I think in total we have 17 technical people. So we have 7 engineers here, 1 in California, and then 10 code writers in the Ukraine. So now we'll take you out into our engineering laboratory. All right, so we'll show you what's happening here. There's a lot going on. This is our engineering laboratory. We test our prototypes here, and we also do testing of chargers. So in this business, we say batteries don't die, they're murdered. Well, what murders a battery? It's always the chargers. You can't hurt a lithium battery on a discharge, because an RV owner is going to always have a mild discharge rate over, say, 8 hours. But now we're going to market with our own charger technology, where we're trying to recharge these batteries in, say, 1 hour to 2 hours. That's the next big wave.
Okay.
So in the beginning, we all said, hey, they're lighter, they last longer, but that's really old news. The new news is, show me how to charge this thing at hyper speed.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming out with a product for the RV industry that I think is going to be very revolutionary, using our own proprietary chargers.
Okay.
So what you see happening here is, if you look over in the corner, you see our metrology area. We've got digital measurement equipment, Hioki, cell testers, battery testers, but all of our incoming inspection is done there. And then you see this is the Raytheon project. You saw one combat radio. Remember how big that was?
Yeah.
How big is that one?
Oh, a lot smaller. That's about a quarter of the size.
Yeah, it's a quarter of the weight.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is, if you move around this way, I used to work for a company that we did cylindrical welding down in Sarasota. But there's problems with using a multitude of small cylindricals, how they age. Our competitor will have maybe 100 cells or more, but here, this is 4,000 plus watts, and it's only 12 cells.
Oh, wow.
Now, the beauty, and this is a really, really important point, because we've been doing this for over a decade, and because I own my own RVs, you find out what people want, and the number one thing that people ask for is a safe heater kit, but it had to be efficient. So if you look at our competition, they've got all these little jelly rolls, these cylindricals, but how do you heat? It's called a radiant heat source. You have to heat the air, and then you eventually heat the cells. But the cells are wound in steel. Ours are aluminum. So what we do, and I think I have a sample here, we turn this over. We have the world's first UL automatic heater pad. So the pad is peel and stick, and it sticks to the bottom, and then we stand it back up. And do you know the heater pad, under freezing, even below zero, is only pulling 15 watts per hour. So what does that mean? If you've got a little solar panel on top, you can keep the battery turned on all through the winter, and it stays warm, and that will double the life of your cells, or double the life of your batteries.
Okay.
So this is all laser welded. I'm not sure if I can do this, but I need a screwdriver.
Yeah.
So
I've got no nails.
all right, good, I got it.
Go.
Okay, so what you see here is our bus bars are completely laser welded. It becomes a it's a true metallurgical intermetallic bond. Our competition is using like a semi-crystalline bond, and they can break during shock and vibration. So UL tests our batteries to 150 Gs, which is equivalent to your van going into a wall at 60 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
it's engineering.
Wow.
Again, and do some people want to pay for this? They do. But some people don't. They want to buy a low-cost battery. Right. But we are coming out with a low-cost battery series. You are going to be the first to see it.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Nice.
Doesn't have a label on it yet. But if you
I think you should call it the Hank.
No, I'm going to call it the Hankenstein.
Yeah, Hank. I like that too.
Actually, let's start from biggest to smallest.
Okay.
And so
big
this
right
is the world's largest module. We sell these to the Newmar King Air and into FBI, CIA, NASA surveillance vehicles, security surveillance vehicles.
Okay. Black vans.
Yeah, I got pictures of them if you want to see some pictures.
Yes, I'd love to see
pretty
that.
radical. But
So-
this is 16 kilowatt hours. But what Newmar wanted was a tiny compartment space. So
Wow.
if you make this battery just 13 inches wide and you slide 2 of these into a motorhome, what do you see when you open this tiny compartment door? Does it take up much room? No, we're
Not in a big Class A that you're talking about. How many amp hours does this translate into?
1,260.
Wow.
It's never been done.
I need this in a van.
Yeah.
I think it can go. So how, and what's the weight on this? It's probably got
296 pounds.
Okay.
Not bad.
No, that's
But we
not
put
bad.
lifting eyes in. So
Yeah.
you just, like some people just take an engine, like one of those cheap Harbor Freight
Yeah.
things, and you lift it up here. But, you know, we've been shipping this to the Newmar King Air for 2 years, and we ship them every week to Newmar. When I designed this battery with my team, my fear was, oh my gosh, if something happens and we got to pull one out, it's not going to be pretty. You know, we haven't had one fail,
Okay.
not one issue. So these
But
can't...
it's good to have something in there, you know, to yeah, if you have to get in there.
Well,
Make
this
it
is the
easy.
first time that we ran
guys
two
working on it.
rooftop air conditioners. So we're running
Oh,
two
wow.
rooftop airs for 2 days in a Newmar King Air, depending on the conditions, right?
Right, yeah, how
So
hot,
just
humid.
moderate, average USA summer conditions. Okay, this is the big boy. Now, this battery is not only a 12V1260, but we introduce this as a 51 volt. Watch how the RV industry switches to 51 volts.
Okay.
If you go to our website and you click on the YouTube channel icon, look for the 51 volt next generation RV.
Okay.
So my friend and I bought a Newmar Canyon Star front diesel, a diesel puller, which is pretty radical. And we're running multiple air conditioners with our 51 volt batteries. 'Cause,
Interesting.
you know, Walter, you know some of this electricity. You mentioned cable heat. Is it a problem? Yeah, it's definitely a problem. But if you go from 12 volts to 51 volts, you cut that by 75% or 400%, however you want to do the math. So it's a big difference. So these batteries generate very little heat load, but a 51 volt battery is way more efficient. All right, so we're going to kind of go through here.
So this is the biggest that you've got.
this
We're
is
going
the
down
biggest.
this way. Okay.
But I'm going to show this to Lola. So we showed you in the conference room a MOSFET BMS. UL will not approve a MOSFET BMS, a solid state BMS, because they're shrinking violets. It's what I call design margin. This belongs over here, because we do have a version of this that has two contactors. And why would you want two contactors? Well, if you're in a yacht, this is called a dual channel BMS. There's no sidewalks out there. So we have people that sail around the world with our batteries. They put 30 kilowatts in. And a dual channel BMS is best explained by this. 10 years ago, a famous eye surgeon called my cell phone. He said, I'm dead in the water, I have no power, and I lost my navigation, and I can't get into Fiji.
Wow.
Now, most of us would say, oh, too
You poor
bad.
guy.
You poor guy.
suffering.
It's like
Yeah.
Fiji.
But you need redundancy on.
But you have to have redundancy.
On those boats,
Well, how does the dual channel BMS work? Very simple. You have a contactor, not a diode bridge, which again just have a very narrow margin for error. If you oversurge it, you can blow the MOSFETs. But these are military grade contactors. We have these made by, well, we have a proprietary one made here in the USA. But when you put two contactors and you put all your charging devices, remember I told you batteries always have issues with chargers. They lose their settings. A solar charge controller goes open circuit. If you put all of this on the charge channel, your navigation will never go down.
Ah. Okay.
So these large yachts is what uses the dual channel. Now, here's our next generation that we're launching for a lot of RV makers. What do you think is easier to build, this one or this one? Contactor goes here. This is not a full assembly, but we've got full assemblies over here that I think I can open up. This is a BMS that we invented 10 years ago because we didn't know what voltages people wanted, and the only way we could survive without investor money is this BMS does 12, 24, 48, 76, 96, 102, 144, all the way up to 480 volts. So now along comes the RV industry. And the RV industry says, okay, we're going to go 12 volt. So this is a BMS that is greatly simplified. This is made by Complete Automation here in Florida. We do some final assembly, but you see everything is a single board design. with multiple microprocessors.
And this is just 12 volts?
No, that's a good
Okay.
question. It's 12, 24, 51.
Oh, okay, so it's ready for what you're saying is coming. So it's,
Well, here's what happened. Let's just say that somebody comes out with a Ford E-Transit, which Winnebago did announce. Well, that's 370 volt. Well, what's going to run your rooftop air conditioner or your refrigerator? So you've got traction batteries. Those are the high voltage batteries, and we build those here. But you have to build those with an arc flash suit, which
Okay.
is all protective garb. And in Florida, they're very warm, but you
Yeah.
have to protect. So this is a BMS just for the hotel load batteries. So are we going to get into traction batteries again? If you do, I realize that you have to have a separate factory for high voltage because it
Okay.
can kill. And so here, this factory is only going to be 12, 24, 48 volts.
okay.
And that BMS is a major step forward because we can build them faster, cheaper here in the USA, and we can give more technology for hundreds less. But let me show you about.
I like that you're not just thinking the battery, you're thinking around the battery, the other things.
It's
and
everything.
integrated.
Everything is about around the battery, because as I mentioned in the conference room, the only way for a charger not to interfere with the abuse condition to force the battery off is you have to turn the batteries into the master, communicating with the chargers. Now we have a development program with Victron, for example. So we invented the complete RVIA, RVC, RV CAN bus PGN library. We have about 60 data messages that we send out. I can control solar charge controllers, and eventually from a Wi-Fi network, you'll be able to turn the battery on and off. It's coming, but I can't tell you who's going to introduce it first. But
Okay.
you'll be able to turn the inverter on and off. Because, see, if your battery is on running the heater kit and you have solar, but that inverter has that parasitic quiescent load, people want to be able to digitally turn the inverter off.
You want to be able to put it up and know that not everything's running.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want it to be
everything's
running.
not- yeah, everything's
Because
not
you
sucking
might
that
only
power
use your
down.
RV once a week or something, or even once
Yeah.
a month.
Right.
So you have to be able to digitally, and that's
Yeah.
the difference with us.
Right.
The NeverDie system is also our proprietary microprocessors that we write source code for. So if you turn off the inverter, the battery can stay on for substantially longer because that inverter is constantly pulling power to keep the capacitors charged
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that we learned.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to go back to what this means in a moment, and when I show you how this translates, you're going to be really surprised at what we're launching right now with RV makers.
Okay.
Okay, so if you take a look here, this is the laser welded core, and this came back from UL, so it might be a little bit scratched, but this is what we developed for the Winnebago Ekko. So this battery has a MOSFET bridge. Well, you just said, well, how do you get UL with a solid state BMS? So what we invented was a smart circuit breaker. So this is the amp seal connector. If the BMS goes into a failure mode, the signal wires will come out and switch the circuit breaker. And I'll try to find one around here. But is that a cost adder? No, because you have to have a fuse. So if you're using a circuit breaker, and in a normal RV, if you blow a fuse, you got to go find that fuse. It's a T-class fuse. You're not going to find one. But if something happens in the coach, we switch the circuit breaker. You just go out and flip the breaker.
Oh, cool.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's an intelligent circuit breaker.
I mean, that's got to be a dynamic breaker, right? Because
It's a dynamic
some
breaker.
serious juice going.
Hey, Chris,
through
do
it.
we have one of our proprietary circuit breakers here? This is Chris. He's probably our longest running engineer at the company, and he's a lot better looking than I am, so no problem. Let you film him. He'll be showing you the smart circuit breaker.
And so how many amp hours would this be?
That's 320.
320, okay.
But now, if you take the size of a battle-born battery, look at this. There's two Group 31 drop-ins. Look at that. 100, 100, 320. So you can see the energy density between these so-called Group 31, and we make them too. Now ours is 130. The Battleborn is 100, but this is 130 usable. And this is 100 usable, but this is 320 usable. So look at the width. I mean, we're much narrower. And so if you take two of these side by side in the Ekko, you have 640 amp hours. Or we're just launching this right now with some key RV makers. We took two of these packs, put them in one case. That's 640 amp hours.
Yeah, nice.
But it's the same identical size, so it's just the same length, but it's now twice the width.
Walter likes this.
I know somebody could use that. Yeah.
Is he behind? Well, see, my wallet's not in my pocket, Walter. So, well, you have to do it the honest way. All right, Chris, you got to take over.
Hey guys. Yeah, so this is our UL rated circuit breaker we developed.
Okay.
This operates as a normal circuit breaker. Up and down it'll pop if it's over current.
Okay.
But also the BMS has this control wire, so it can intervene and pop it whenever it senses that it needs to.
Okay.
So one of the UL tests is redundancy. Not only is the BMS redundant and disconnecting power, but also it can control the circuit breaker as a redundant disconnect.
So, and where is that? Where's that located? Like
this
somewhere
is-
outside,
It's in the compartment.
somewhere in the
Yeah.
compartment,
Yeah, it's
so
up
you
to
can
the-
have access to it and just.
But you know what's really cool about that? If you look at the Winnebago FLX, the micro mini FLX, who we just launched thousands of, they take the battery, put it in a hidden compartment, but the NeverDie reserve switch is right there, and so's the breaker. You don't see the battery. So
Yeah.
now the breaker is put on the inside of the compartment wall where the inverter is, and guess what that is? It's also a battery disconnect. So even though that's a very expensive component to pass UL to get that multi-million-dollar product liability insurance policy, we made it intelligent in that it replaces a fuse and it replaces a DC disconnect switch. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it makes it
again.
easier for you.
And
You
the
know,
customer.
typically you get into something when you're out in the middle of nowhere, and now you're
Right.
trying to figure it out. So yeah, it makes
Yeah.
it easier.
Well, like I
But-
said, I've owned RVs since the year 2000, and you know, if I have more kids, I get a bigger one. If kids start moving out, I get a smaller one.
Right.
So right now, I have a 10-year-old. So yeah, we've still got the big one, but you know, a trend that I see coming is if you have a big diesel pusher because you have a family, they're hard to drive because the wheels in front. But the Super C phenomena is just unbelievable. Everybody launched Super Cs,
Okay.
but see the wheels in front of you, not behind you like a Class A.
Okay.
So what does that mean? It's easier for people like my wife to drive, and so we're probably going to get a Super C at some point.
Oh, cool.
I want to show you something here
Okay.
that we're pretty proud of. This is a supercharger. And the problem with lithium is that the Chinese do have their own equipment, but if you want to make things in the USA, you have to design your own load banks. I'm going to show you, it's a fascinating piece of equipment of how we do QC testing, and we check our heats and our voltages under load. And so we call that machine the lie detector test. We'll get to that. But this is a supercharger that was 100% designed and built in-house. So you see these rolling carts. So because we 100% discharge and QC check every battery, you got to high-speed recharge them or else you are not efficient. Customers don't want to pay for the load test. They don't want to pay for the recharge test. It's not value added. It's quality assurance. But all
They don't
customers-
see that. Yeah.
they don't see it and they don't
Right.
want to pay for it, but it's there, and it ensures that every battery that goes out of here is burned in twice and then load checked. So if somebody calls us up and they say, I have a bad battery, I'll ask, what did you do? Because I have your birth certificate.
Right.
I checked
Exactly.
all your DNA.
They know more than you know.
Right.
Oh, so I see you've got your multi-controllers and everything here, so
Yeah.
you can dial this from like what, 50 all the way
12,
down? Or?
oh yeah, we can dial different currents. This
Okay.
goes 12, 24, and 48 volt. So it's really a pretty revolutionary thing. It took us probably
That's
a
cool.
year to build them.
Okay.
But they're now launched and they're in manufacturing. You'll see them all over the factory.
So is every battery going through something like this before it goes?
Every
out the-
cell,
Every cell.
and then every battery.
Oh, okay.
Nobody does that much QC. Now I'm going to invite you to come over here for just a
Okay.
moment. Now you're the first people to see this. The very, 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 very first. Winnebago came to us and said, look, we just want the best Group 31 drop-in 4 years ago. Okay, what features do you want? Well, we want an on-off switch. We want that switch to blink if there's a fault, or blink in a certain pattern if it's charging. We want a remote control button to actuate the battery inside, especially the NeverDie, they want Bluetooth, and we want the most amp hours to run rooftop air.
Okay.
So in a Revel, we take 2 of these. They use a micro-air soft start in every Revel. And
Oh, so this is what's in the Revel.
this is in the Revel today.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
2 of them.
I just recently did a Revel video. Okay.
But let's think about this, right? We're taking just 2 of these batteries,
Yeah.
and we're running rooftop air for up to 6 hours.
And that's you're getting how many amp hours?
There's 260.
Wow.
But you don't need a big BMS to do the surge, because the surge is handled by the micro-air soft start, and they use a 2,000 watt inverter, not a 3,000, because they're buffering that inrush current. But Ron Liston has a video on our website that he allowed us to use, running 2 of these with a solar panel at 91 degrees. He got 6 hours of air conditioning run space. I mean, these
That's
things
pretty
are
cool.
tiny.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so if you have the Revel, for example, can you actually daisy chain onto these and go up if you need to?
There's a company called Rome Rig.
Okay.
He's great. He's converting all Revels from a 2 battery to a 3 battery and a 4 battery.
Cool.
And we just had Peter Holcomb here 2 months ago. He's going to be the first guy to take an RV, a Revel, around the world. Who's going to do?
Oh, nice.
He's going to travel, circumnavigate every continent.
Wow.
I know people that have done that with motorcycles, but
Yes.
nobody's ever done it with an RV.
No, not that
So
I
he's
could-
got a 1-year
yeah.
prep.
Oh, cool.
So he came here, and we said, okay, let's hook you up with Aaron. He's with Rome Rig, and he's going to have 4 of these in the doghouse. Now, here's the flaw of this battery. This battery requires an external heater wrap.
Yes.
So, because we couldn't fit the heater inside. All these batteries have the internal automatic heater.
Okay.
So now, what we're doing is we're creating this battery. This is just a prototype. This is a 12E100. So we give up 30 amp hours, but we get 2 BMSs inside. See the height?
That's this.
Why do we need 2 BMSs, Walter? For UL redundancy,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay. So for
So this one I
redundancy,
can't
see.
fit 2 BMSs in.
So it's just like it's like a circuit board or something.
There's
It's a-
2 circuit boards in
Okay,
there. So to
layered.
get UL,
Okay.
to get that insurance policy, you have to have redundancy. The other advantage, and this is pretty critical, we never talk about this. So it's out. So are people going to try to copy it? If you want to pass UL crash and crush, you have to be in an aluminum enclosure. The aluminum enclosure is also a heat sink for the battery management system. You might see that during assembly out in manufacturing. The problem, Walter, because you have a fascination for this, we talked about plastic cases. They hold heat, but aluminum will shed heat.
Yeah.
So if you look at a typical Asian-made battery, they're limited to 100 amps continuous, but not this one. This can do significantly more, but in fact, this one can do 200 continuous, which will run a 3,000 watt inverter, even though it's a tiny battery. So this one has the redundancy, but it has the aluminum. I'm going to have you walk over here
Okay.
to know. No, you guys are through kindergarten, okay? Now we're going to go straight to the master's degree, okay?
Okay. Awesome.
Come on
We're
this
seeing
way.
some good
Yeah.
stuff.
There's a couple of things going on here, but I'm going to have you focus your attention on
3D printers.
3D printers. Now, you ask yourself, why in the world would a battery company want a 3D printer? That's a really good
Good question. Are you 3D printing batteries?
Well, I wish I was that smart, but no. Part shortages. So here's an example. You buy a simple housing, and the supplier calls you up. He said, Steve, I have to double my price on that thing. Okay, I get it. You know, plastic's in short supply. I need this one silly part to keep Coachmen running or anybody else running.
Right.
Oh, that's not the end of the story. I'm doubling the price, but I'm quadrupling the lead time.
Wow.
Wait, what? Okay, I'm going to pay more money for more,
Less.
less,
or in a longer
more
time.
poor,
Yeah.
less service, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm making 16 kilowatt batteries, and you can't make that in less than 6 months? I just don't get it. So it's like, you know what?
Well,
I
where
have
they're
enough-
getting their stuff.
Well, exactly. Because you're buying this from like TE Connectivity, who's a U.S. company, but they could be making this thing in, like, East Jagordia. You don't even know where this thing is made. It's some town that you've never heard of, but it doesn't matter. You got to keep your customers going.
Yeah.
These things run 24/7 in certain weeks because we have to make our own plastic components.
Wow. Okay. But that's a good thing. I'm
It's a
glad
good
that you're
thing.
able to. Yeah. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know?
Pain
Yeah.
brings change, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now for the really, really, really good stuff. Okay. What if you could get rid of your inverter charger and go with a low-cost inverter, because they're a lot less expensive, and then you wanted to hypercharge your battery. You can't hypercharge a battery with the converter side of an inverter, but if you use our chargers, and this took us 4 years to develop, you can stack these in parallel. So we're actually talking to some RV makers about the concept.
That's what this is?
Yeah, this is our charger. That's the one you saw in the military battery. So we developed this for Raytheon years ago.
Okay, so now that's coming over to just to the rest of the other side of the batteries.
I have to ask Lola a question. Lola, just touch this, okay? Just feel it. It's just the most awesome thing. Is this not the Swiss watch of chargers? I know you like Swiss watches, right? Which is what I have on. So it's weird. I don't know if you want to put this on video, but I can't wear a battery-powered watch. My skin pulls all the power out within a week.
Oh wow!
So I have to wear like
That's
Swiss
just from being
mechanical.
ingenious.
No.
What
I
is
don't
that
know.
you've got?
Oh, that's a tag.
A tag, very nice.
Yeah. So I have to wear mechanical watches. So this is
Me
our
too,
charger.
I like it. I don't have that particular problem you have.
No.
I don't know what
Yeah.
kind of alien you are.
We talked about that in the conference room. I told you what kind of alien I am, right? So, all right, what do you see here? You see a 51 volt, a 24 volt with the dual channel for yacht, marine, and you see a 12 volt. Now, here's the new BMS technology.
Oh, okay.
So don't forget what we told you. Other people use a coil-based contactor. This is a capacitor-driven contactor that we applied for a patent on. And now UL said, oh, you can't have one capacitor driver. Redundancy, you got to put two.
Okay.
So now you guys just got your college degree, and now we're going to move into the master's program. Where is the race in the RV industry? To make the batteries smaller and smaller, and to have what's called the connected coach. What does that mean? Remember we talked
Everything
about
runs off
everything
of the
runs
batteries.
off the same data backbone. 2 years ago, we said we want to be the first to market to come up with a data backbone. So we can talk to the Truma. We can talk to the Truma hot water heater.
Yeah, you can have one panel that you go
One
into
panel
or off your phone
that
or
controls
something.
everything.
Yeah, you
right?
don't have to flip through a bunch of
Because the
different
kind of
apps.
guy I am is, I just don't want to get out of bed. So just give me the panel. Let me just do this from my smartphone. And I haven't showed you our smartphone app, but we will show you that in a moment.
Okay.
Here's the data backbone. Okay, oh, I have one module. I want another module. I just got money back from the government. So you plug and play. Then we have things called edge connectors. And this is where there's two choices that you can make. The one kind of company that you can be is a company that is exclusionary and says, oh, you want to buy an air conditioner? You have to buy it from us because we have our own proprietary data backbone. We don't believe in that. So we sat on the RVIA committee to develop the RVC 2 years ago, knowing that in the future, people like this, there's the nation's alternator connection point.
Okay.
Or this might be going into the same backbone. This is going to save so much wiring in an RV because
So it's almost like a USB kind of
it's
a universal
I like that.
standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I met the guy who invented that connector about 25 years ago. And it's frustrating. You never get it right. It's a 50-50 shot that you're going to plug it in the right way.
Right.
But I've never gotten it right the first time.
Yeah.
I always got to rotate it.
Yeah.
But these are not. These are all keyed and
They
we
only
use,
plug in one way.
so
Yeah,
these
this
are,
looks like a musical instrument.
exactly. It's a metric 12 connector, so it's an industry standard.
Well,
Okay.
I was gonna say, you guys got together and finally said, this is going to connect this
That's
way.
what we need.
This is going to connect
Yeah.
that way."
Everything.
So much
Because
easier to build and to maintain.
It makes for competition. So we had an RV maker in here said, why don't you develop your own RVC backbone? Why wouldn't you want that to be
proprietary.
proprietary? I said, no, that's not the way things are.
Yeah,
When
this is-
Apple did that, then no app writers would write for Apple, so they all went to Google, and then Apple said, yeah, we better not do that.
Yeah. Well, it hurts the consumer too.
It
If
hurts
everything
the
is
consumer.
proprietary, you can't
Absolutely.
modify, you can't add things,
Limits your
you
choices.
can't fix things yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, we said, what is the number one problem with lithium batteries? It's the chargers. Why? Because chargers have a sine wave that they create. And that sine wave has ripple current and ripple voltage. So when you're converting, say, AC to DC or the reverse, you have an amplitude tolerance. Lithium is 14.4 volts plus minus 0.2. You're talking less than 5% variation. Some of the early inverters, they would just shut the batteries off. Like their sine wave was like 15 and then down, and then 15.2 and then down.
Okay.
That is what irritates people. I get people that call us up from Coachmen just a couple of days ago. They said, something is shutting my battery down. So he pulled a log file on his smartphone. We're the only people that can do that. We looked at it and said, something is creating 14.9 volts in the system. In the Coachmen, it wasn't the inverter, it wasn't the alternator, it was a low-cost automatic combiner relay, which didn't have the voltage accuracy. So Coachmen immediately said, okay, create something that has more voltage accuracy. So when you make something in China, you get more variation. These are made in China, and but you're only talking a couple of percent. We get so few complaints on a Coachmen product, but Coachmen is so passionate about quality, they said, we'll pay more money for your made in the USA automatic combiner relay. And I'll have to show you what it looks like, but this is the lowest cost way, and this is what I love about Coachmen. They're using a high cost second alternator, but now they're going to be deploying our own digital automatic combiner relay. Now that'll have a Bluetooth, it'll be RVC. And you'll be able to look at a panel and say, oh, look, I'm pulling an extra 50 amps off my alternator, which you didn't have that before. But now when Coachmen launches this more advanced unit, they're going to be getting even more charging current, free charging.
So the efficiency because of this built-in battery management system will go up.
Yep, and it's going to be able to, again, master slave.
Yeah.
You're the charger. I'm going to control you. I'm not going to let you control me. That's the secret.
Okay.
And what that does is it allows other charger makers that might have maybe lower grade equipment, but will control it. So right now, you can shut me off if you don't have voltage accuracy. But let's say Nick from Coachmen went with the wake speed because we tell the wake speed, hey, we're running kind of warm today, or the alternator is running a little bit warm. Why don't you back off for just a few minutes, wait for the alternator to cool. That firmware is RVC, it's in the BMS, and we're controlling the wake speed alternator. So again, what I love about Coachmen and Winnebago and Newmar, these companies want the best. They don't want the cheapest, they want the best, and that's critical. And they want UL on top of all that.
I mean, ultimately, the guys buying, the vans or whatever it is, Class A's, they don't want to keep having to buy different things. Like, I don't like to always be in the process of buying a new one.
Upgrading.
Well,
okay, I want to get it, it works, I could go where I need to go.
Seriously, you just read my mind. Because what you're seeing behind me is, now we're getting all these people that are buying the Coachmens. It's like, gee, I love 630 amp hours, but you know what? What if I could stay off-grid for 2 days or 3 days? Well, that's what you see here. So now, because you choose the external BMS, you can now add lower cost modules. Now, you remember you asked me, is there a BMS inside? Oh, there it is right there.
Okay.
Every 1 second, I'm talking to this.
Okay.
If this gets in trouble, it'll shut itself off, stop blinking, but you still have power. So now, how easy is it to buy a second module and just plug and play, plug and play, plug it in?
And so one of these is about how many amp hours, and I'm just converting it just to make it easy for people like me, dumbing it down.
These are about 500 amp hours.
500. Okay.
And that one down there is like the big 630.
Okay.
But again, we're trying to make them smaller. But here's why people want this modular system. Don't forget, I told you if you have an imported BMS, internal BMS battery, and they're hardwired in parallel. How do you know that a battery is down? You don't.
No.
So how do you know if one of our modules is down? Well, we're going to send you a message to your phone, and you see that LED blinking that we just showed you. So the complaint that we get is, oh, I have a Coachmen, I want more power. I don't want to go to the dealer. That dealer's backed up for 3 months. You don't need a dealer. You don't need tools. We'll ship you another module. Click, you're done. Really, the only thing you got to do is
Find
just
space to put it.
there's space there. They've designed them for that. All these RV makers are designing for the future, but they want people to be able to do this easily and without having to go to the dealer. And the only thing you have to worry about is just tie the thing down.
Okay.
You just use a motorcycle hold-down strap. That's it. Just so easy. So yeah, the batteries are lightweight enough where they're not going to jump around, and so you don't need a whole lot of
No,
hold.
that's cool. I want all the amp hours. You know, I don't want Fit RV having more amp hours than I do. Well, it's kind of that's impossible to do.
I
He's got all
don't
the
understand
amp
where the
hours.
20K was a dream. So they called me up and they said, "Hey, we're going to come down and see you." Well, they haven't been in this factory for like 4 years, and they helped put us on the map.
Yes, I've
We're
looked at
engineers.
their videos here.
We're not. I don't know social media. I'm 63 years old. You got to figure it out, but
Right.
it's not part of my generation. But when James came in here 4 years ago, and we went on social media, our business jumped. And it's getting the word out. I don't want to spend money on marketing and advertising. I want to spend money on engineering.
Yeah.
And
I
next
think they do a
generation.
good job. Like, I don't know them, but I look at their stuff because he does a really good job of breaking it down to me, getting me to be able to understand it. So
He wanted to
that's what
push us.
social media should do.
So Stephanie sends me an email. Is 20K possible? I'm like, let me think about that. So after COVID, I hadn't seen them. And then I found out that they were a Winnebago ambassador for the Ekko, and they had design input because that was made announcement. Like,
Yeah,
wait,
and they
what?
were like the only people with an Ekko.
Yeah.
I think right now they still might be. But
They
there's
have number one.
There's a few of them out there, but yes.
But he got number
Yeah.
one. I think we
Yeah.
probably ship batteries equivalent to maybe 500 Ekkos, so they're hitting the market. If somebody comes to me and says, what is the penultimate? What's the ultimate? That's what you just said. How far can I go? Well, he said 20K. I was like, so he comes in the door, and I said, Stephanie, I have something for you. And I was at this table, and I moved to the side, and she was filming, and there was 20K worth of batteries. So I said, well, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Don't know why you need it, but how many
Oh,
how many people have four-wheel drive and they don't use four-wheel drive, right?
Oh, I
That's
have
just-
most.
all-wheel drive. I love it. I
Yeah.
use it all the time. Yeah.
But that one time you do.
Oh well, if it's
That-
selectable.
that's
if it's
exactly
selectable.
right.
It's like
the one
having that
time-
tool you only use
Yeah,
once
not
in a
having
while.
it.
And
If
Well,
there's
if
that
you're-
one tool that'll get a job done in an hour versus the day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's worth every bit of it.
yeah,
so-
I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got like those cabinets over there. Every technician has their own tool drawer, so you can't waste time looking for a tool.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't want to have a master's degree to hook up one of our batteries. You don't.
You shouldn't have
It's
to.
just that
No, you shouldn't.
and nothing else.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that what we're kind of getting used to, like on my side, being having these vans, and I have the generator in mine. The more you have to put on that generator to recharge back up your batteries, is the more noise you're making, or whatever
Right.
it is. Call it bringing attention to yourself. So if you have this capacity to go longer, it does help. Maybe
does.
not everyone's going to use it. If you're the person that has a van and you just use it once a month or something like that.
There's
or
two
half the year,
ways an
maybe
industry
not.
changes. So 10 years ago, we were working only with people like yourself. We'll give you a discount, not free. We never gave away free batteries. We'll give you a discount, but you have to drive to Winnebago. You have to drive to Coachmen. So the grassroots movement started even before social media. So the other thing that changes is legislation. What's happening at the end of next year? Do you know?
There's a whole bunch of things
Banning-
happening. I know
Banning generators.
generators. I know in
Lawnmowers,
California,
right.
yeah, in places
Right.
like that. Yeah.
So did you notice in the news a couple of days ago that there's multiple fires already starting? Texas, Arizona, I forget the other state, but
Yeah, there was some whole. I saw this morning something just completely burned down.
yeah, 18 homes, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been waiting 10 years. Here's what I'm against. I'm against diesel particulate because it's carcinogenic. And people don't want to put the cost of pollution controls on these small generators. Who believed global warming? Really nobody, but I believed in it. Is it a theory or is it a fact? The last 3 years, we have a laboratory in Sacramento. For 3 years, we've had fires burning all around our engineering laboratory in California. Is it a real thing? It is. Are people going to take it seriously? Trump didn't take it seriously, but we're taking it seriously today. So every month, Lithionics battery replaces probably 500 generators per month. So I don't want any recognition for it, but it's my passion. You can't be in business to say I want to make money. You have to solve something. You have to, minister to some great need or some great cause. We had this vision 10 years ago when I was your age, and it's coming true. People want it. So it's a grassroots. The next big thing that changed is the national parks. You want to go to a national park, you're not running that generator. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so now work trucks, we're going into work trucks too now.
Oh, okay. Or for me, so for example, my van is my office, and I think more people are doing that.
More people are doing that.
So you're gonna have more needs, more things you need to run those batteries off of, etc. And then at some point,
There's a lot of people that have gone off grid. There's some really good channels on TV that you can watch, like the Nomads, like the new Nomad. Oh my gosh, people are buying RVs like crazy because they might have lost their house during COVID, and they're not going back. Yeah. Migrant Amazon workers, you ever see any of those videos?
Right. Or housing prices are getting kind of crazy.
Housing prices are crazy.
Yeah. Taxes, etc. We can get deep into
government
the woods.
regulation.
Yeah. So it's in a lot of ways it's easier for you to have your room on your back and you move around. You can live your life, have adventures, and you don't need to stay in a hotel room, etc.
When my wife and I go, she sometimes brings up blacklight. Like, what are you doing? Like she'll
in the
check
hotel
the germs. If you put a
don't look.
blacklight
If you don't look, it doesn't
you don't
affect
want to look,
Yeah.
right? But
It affects you, but you don't know what's happening.
So last year we built 500,000 RVs. The year before, the industry built 500,000. This year, 600,000.
I mean, Winnebago built its 500th RV recently, and it was a Revel.
Oh, okay.
So them on their own, they just got to 500,000th, excuse me.
Yeah, the Revel's been a big winner for us. And but why do we only build 10,000 new powered campsites a year? So there's a guy, Rob Cornelius. We love Margaritaville. If you ever go out to Auburndale or Pigeon Forge, stay at Margaritaville. So Jimmy Buffett did an amazing job.
Okay.
It's so cool because the parents get to drink under a gigantic tiki hut, and all the kids' activities are all around. So he can drink, not get drunk. I'm just saying, you see your kids, and it's built for adults and kids. But they can't build them fast enough. So if you buy you sell 500,000 RVs, where are you going to stay?
There is no places to
There's
stay.
no places to stay.
Where you can stay and actually plug in is kind of like evaporated.
It's gone.
You're staying in your van wherever you could, Right now, I'm tucked in under a palm tree at Walter's place.
All right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
In the front yard.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Right.
I'll show you a picture here, but yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful palm tree.
Just in case you don't believe me.
Yeah. No, see,
I'll run that in for
people. You have the
people
transit chassis.
Yeah.
Ford hasn't shipped the transit chassis in months because of the chip shortage. So 2 years ago, I sat down with all the big RV makers and I said, look, I need a 2-year commitment. I'm going to buy 2 years worth of microprocessors. We never shut anybody down. The problem is that I can build batteries by the thousands every month, but they can't get chassis. So Mercedes had their transmission issue, Transit with the microprocessor issue.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
We've got some, what is it called? The wire harness issues right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah.
Yep.
A lot of that's been made in
No,
Ukraine.
like I said, we
yeah.
have employees there, so we had to move it back. And we've got great wire harness makers here. So this is our incoming inspection. This is Phyllis, our lovely Phyllis, and she does
Hi.
all of the incoming
How's it going?
testing. So the materials come in. We've got printed circuit boards and wire harnesses here in the quarantine section. And then this is where all of our electrical and mechanical testing takes place. Now, we're going to really accelerate the plant tour. This is our staging department. We have a massive warehouse down the road, air-conditioned storage for everything. Then we have a box truck, because we couldn't get a warehouse in the cul-de-sac here. Not yet, it's coming. But we stage everything on a car, and then we wheel it up the hallway this way.
So is this another building?
Oh yeah, I want to keep going. We had a long ways to go.
So this is an adjacent building to the building you came
Yeah,
into.
but see, it's on 2 different levels. So I bought these old buildings to be renovated. So like the epoxy floors, I had to put the air insulation in the ceiling.
Nice.
These buildings had never been air conditioned.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Alec.
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, I've been to some places, some factories here in Florida, where only the offices for the owner has air conditioning.
See,
Where the people work, no air conditioning.
it's so funny because when I first opened up my factory, a bunch of businesses came to me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, explain." You're offering maternity benefits. Yeah, what's your point?
You need employees. You want your employees to stay and enjoy
We don't
working
do that
with
in
you.
Florida. This is 25 years ago when I opened my first factory, but okay, I'm from New England. That's how we do things. People come here and they're like, "Oh my gosh, air conditioning?" Everybody out here wears smocks. It's not show, it's anti-static smocks, so it's not trying to make you think we got a bunch of doctors working here,
Yeah.
but all right, so
You know, for the most part, you take care of your employees, they take care of you. And, you know, if you work somewhere, you should really feel like you have ownership over that place. It's tough to see that a lot, but I believe in that. You know,
No.
even though you're the boss
culture.
or you're the owner, if I'm working for you, I should feel like I have ownership over that place.
And-
but you're the one that has to work on making that happen. So.
And we do. Like, I'll let you walk up to anybody. They can tell you, "Oh, we just built this battery in 26.19 minutes, and I got a gain share check." If people make an improvement out there, they get the money. I don't keep the money.
Oh, cool.
Now, you want to talk about, well, what's one reason why we're more expensive than competition? There's 100 reasons, but how about this one? You're an RV maker, and do you have any idea the chaos that's going on in the transportation channel? People don't care anymore. So the number one reason why batteries are damaged is you put them on wooden pallets. They break, they drop them. Look at our pallets. Molded plastic.
Oh, nice. ABS?
I don't know. I can look it up and see, but these things are expensive. They're like 3 times more, and customers don't recycle them. But if you look at the way we strap the batteries down, you know, here is a good example. Shipping
That's
damage
cool.
can shut down a factory. Right?
Yeah.
So how we
And you only
package them-
stack too high? You don't go past that?
No, we
Okay.
don't. And then this, we try to keep people from stacking, you know, something else like furniture on top. The batteries are crush proof,
Right.
so you're not going to hurt the batteries. But we still don't want. These are very expensive fiberboard boxes, and they're relatively fireproof. They're certified by the United Nations, so there's a lot of packaging engineering going on here. In fact, we'll show you where we package the batteries next. So this is labeling for compliance. So here we're labeling up battery management systems. If you look over here, those are all the different UL stickers. Those stickers are designed for a 20-year life. And because our competition builds 2 or 3 different batteries, we make hundreds of different batteries here.
Okay.
Turn around and you'll see our dye sublimation printer.
Oh.
So we cannot afford to pre-print labels and then wait for them to show up. So we do our own printing in-house. So we
Rolling.
change labels on the fly. But, you know, like I said, we have hundreds of batteries. This is a 102-volt battery. To say, what in the world would somebody use a 102-volt battery for?
Very specific.
Marine propulsion.
Oh, okay.
So people want pontoon boats. We have the largest battery integration in the country for electric pontoon boats. That's really big business for us. So it's not just
Interesting.
RV.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But what does an electric motor run on? Amps or volts? They love volts. The higher the voltage, the faster the motor spins and the less amp hours you use. Well, people want speed in an electric motor. You only get that by voltage because the field windings are in voltage. So this is why we have to have our own printing in-house, just because we make so many different batteries. So
That's cool.
There we go. So these are twin 102-volt batteries. Again, there's that plug-and-play system, and check this out, Lola. We showed this to the RV industry 4 years ago, and they're now just getting designed in. Do you know what this is? You plug the BMS in here.
Okay.
I only want 1 battery today. Next year I want another battery.
Oh, okay.
Next year I want another battery.
So you could just add, and all you need to do is buy the batteries and plug them in.
Can you imagine you have that Newmar battery that's 16 kilowatts? 1, 2, 3, 4. We make a 6 position. I can't do the math. I need more coffee. But 6 times 16 kilowatts. It's over 100,000 watt hours just from a combiner box.
Wow.
So in-house design, in-house built, pretty heavy.
Okay.
Why is it so heavy? It's aluminum.
Yeah.
All copper on the inside.
Oh.
Real cable.
And lots of power goes through
No,
this.
you know what's inside?
bus bars.
There's solid bus bars, but there's a special rope. It's interesting. It's only made in England, and it's a braided steel cable that it's like 4/0. You can bend it at a 90-degree angle. That's the coolest stuff. If I can find some, I'll let you hold
wow.
it.
That's
It's really very satisfying to bend it in your hands. So these are probably going into, all these batteries are going into like marine propulsion.
okay.
All right, come on down this way. We're going to show you, this is where like all that electrostatic discharge comes in. So Lola, I'm going to protect you and going to have you come around this way. Nice. All right, you have to kind of wind your way through here, okay?
Okay.
All right, now, this is our wonderful load bank.
Oh wow.
So this goes up and outside. These are, you know, I've never given a plant tour like this.
No?
First, no. So this is
Awesome.
TCP/IP. Disney uses that Ethernet internet protocol for their Wi-Fi network. So Disney buys batteries that might run an unmanned guided boat on a lake,
Right.
no driver.
Yeah.
We have a lot of customers like unmanned submarines for the government. We make those big Newmar modules go into like Raytheon or Lawrence Livermore National Labs surveillance. So like all our batteries are powering our sensor programs for looking for ICBMs coming in. So we deploy them over towards, of all places, North Korea, right? So if he launches a weapon, we know, but these are unmanned guided subs. With our batteries, they can stay out there for weeks.
Wow.
And they're electric propulsion. So what we do is we take the modules here, we plug them in, and we have a load bank right there that we can mix and match different voltages. Now this is, what you see here, this is our FLIR thermal camera. There's my hand. Oh, is there a hot spot there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the hot spot. If you have a hot spot, what does that mean in the battery? Why heat? Maybe somebody didn't torque something down. Maybe the metal has tramp in it.
Inefficiency,
Or
that's what
it's something is causing an inefficiency.
Right.
So all the batteries go into that paint booth right behind you that we
Let
designed
me
and
see
built
what's
in-house.
the inefficient part of my cell phone.
All right.
Oh, the whole thing, basically. Interesting.
But you are looking for consistency. So that thermal, yes, but you want it to be the same color
Right,
because
right.
when you click on it, you know what the temperature is. But in our batteries, we put these batteries on the load. Now look at what's happening. This to me is the shiny star of Lithionics battery. This is all firmware that we wrote in-house. 10 years ago, our customers came to us and said, you prove to me that these batteries are what you say they are, and that we can take a battery back at any time and know the battery life. Now, battery life now is on our Bluetooth app. I haven't showed you that yet. We're the first company that gives state of health diagnostics, and Nick just put it in, all of his Coachmens, and so it's really revolutionary. But look at what's happening up here. So let's just take this battery. This is a Newmar battery. The battery is fully charged at 14.4, but now I put a load on. What's the load? It's in the purple, 3 kilowatts. Why did I put a 3 kilowatt load on? That's the inverter. It's a 3,000 watt inverter.
Oh, okay.
But now, here's what I want you to watch. So Walter is going to look at temperature because
So
he
you
likes
can just
temperature.
drag and drop the load.
Well, we can, but we're gonna put a steady 3 kilowatt load on. And what are we looking for? If we said that this was a 1260 amp hour battery, is it? Because some of these imports, they're not giving you 100. I've measured them as low as 90. The consumer's getting shorted 10 amp hours. That's too much. But now watch the temperature, Walter.
So
80.
the temperature is blue.
Inside
Okay.
is blue, inside. But now watch the voltage. When I started out, 12.7 volts,
It's very consistent.
12.6 volts,
Yeah.
12.4
and then the yellow
volts
line is the power going down, obviously.
is
as
the
it's being
consumption.
consumed.
Correct,
Yeah.
right.
State of charge.
So how long did I test this battery for? 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
And what did I measure? I measured 1250, but you still have reserve. So we're certifying every battery. Now, here's what's behind.
So you're under-promising, over-delivering versus
Absolutely.
like over-promising and under-delivering.
Right, yeah, because we're not a marketing company, we're an engineering company. Let's open one of these things up. Let's just open up. This is for a company called El Capitan. They make vans in California. I just open up this data log. All right, so here's the data log. Remember that blink on that module? Every 1 second, I'm talking to your
All
cell
this
phone.
data. Okay.
All this data. How much data? All right, let's check it out. Let's scroll all the way down. I think I'm at the bottom. Doesn't really matter, but let's just pull up this code. This is a different data log. I can tell you that there's typically 10,000 lines of code and about 6 readings on that battery.
Okay.
So your
And
battery,
that's all going to the phone,
it's going to your phone.
and then the phone is logging it. So
You
if
can
something
log it
happens,
and
I can
it's-
send that to you.
Bingo.
Okay.
And we do this all the time. People call me up. Everybody blames the battery, blame the battery. But wait a minute, no, we have to get to the root cause. I want a new battery. I'm camping, I want a new battery right now. Oh, I think we can fix this over the phone. Guess what? 90% of all things, we fix them over the phone. You have a bad control set. Coachmen guy called me up. I said, are you sure you're on the right setting? And he was. It was another issue with another charging device. But the point is that translates into data tiles. And we'll show you what that looks like. So every battery is open because they have to get the fluorothermal imaging test. And then every battery is getting a data log. So this is really final QC.
Awesome. What is that room?
So that's our paint booth.
Oh, paint booth. Okay.
So you cannot do thermal imaging on straight copper or nickel-plated copper. You have to put this anti-emissive coating. And if you look inside the battery, you see that brown paint. It's the only way you can get an accurate thermal image of the battery. Right.
I see.
So every cell is burned in. So if we stress test every cell, we know if one cell is not matched to another cell. For old guys who remember Frankenstein, he put the probes on his neck.
Right.
Every time I look at this thing, I think of the Frankenstein machine. But these things are all designed and built in-house. You don't go to Walmart to get these things.
Right.
All right, so we have all these burning stations.
Very
out here.
specialized.
Take a look here.
Okay. So the batteries come off the line and then they're getting burnt in. Okay.
And then you don't assemble the batteries until they're all burned in. So these machines can run 24/7. So if I can do this automated, I don't charge the customer for it. So it's extra QC, but it's really free because this stuff, we monitor it over a Wi-Fi network. And if something's going wrong, we can turn these systems on and off. So, you know, you asked me the most profound question. Why are your batteries more expensive? And I hope this video answers it. We've never opened up the factory like this. I've never
I appreciate it.
No, we've never done this before. But you guys waited for 6 months to get in here, so I want to make it worth your while. So we're going to go down this way, a little back row. Just be
Go ahead,
careful.
Lola. Careful with the mess.
Okay, remember what I said. Batteries don't die, they're murdered. So a Bloodmobile bought these batteries 2 years ago. Now let me explain. NeverDie doesn't mean never charge. These are not nuclear power generators. If you let them sit for a couple of years, you really ought to check on them. This customer who makes Bloodmobiles didn't do it. So you notice they're dirty, but they came back and we're trying to revive the battery because right there, that's like a lot of battery power. Okay, so our BMSs are assembled here. This is our rework station for when customers send things back and they've got to be repaired. And then this is casing in the center, but now I'm going to show you the next factory.
So you're kind of wrapping around this cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to keep growing. Now, these are batteries that propel, these are 370 volt batteries. So these batteries came back, again, customer put them in storage during COVID. Nobody was buying ground services equipment. This is a 370 volt battery bank. But if you look, see all the blinking lights in here? So if one of those lights isn't blinking, it means there's a problem, and that problem is either at the cell level or it's at the electronics level. But in every case, they didn't maintain the batteries. They just never charged them. They've been sitting since 2010. So most of them that came back, they're okay, but some of them we have to put a few cells in because some of the cells were dead when we put them on the burn-in station.
So if you're not going to use them, then you just put them on basically a trickle.
You need a trickle.
Or something just
Yeah.
to,
Or what we say is put them at 50% state of charge. So you have to remember, a lithium battery is like an hourglass. So you've got sand on two sides of the separator or ions on two sides. If a battery is completely empty or if a battery is completely full, you have what's called DC transfer physics. So an empty battery has all the energy on one side or a full battery has all the energy on the other side. You have copper. Now that separator is nano size, only allows ions through. If you have a battery that's full or empty all the time, the copper begins to migrate. Some people call this dendrite growth. Maybe it's a dendrite, but it's a whisker, and that copper will grow and get pulled
And then connect.
to the other side. Well, if it connects, it short circuits. But we have a Kevlar protection system on our separator. We don't worry about the safety. But if that copper grows on the separator, guess what? There's no ion transfer. So your battery loses capacity. So what's the ideal situation? Keep the voltage in the middle. And how do you do that? Well, just pull up your phone, turn on your air conditioner, bring it down to 50% state of charge, turn it off, it'll sit for months,
Yeah.
but not years. So
okay, don't keep it fully
I think
charged.
people
Don't
assume
keep it fully discharged.
with these kinds of batteries, they're, you don't have to do anything for it. It's totally fine.
it's true in that these batteries are designed for a 10-year life. Some people care, some people don't care. Me, I have a Tiffin diesel pusher with these batteries in it. I don't care. I'm not going to keep that thing for 10 years. So I keep my coach plugged in all the time. I'm ready to go all the time. So I don't really care, but customers that paid a lot of money for these batteries, because I obviously didn't, they care about getting the maximum life out of them. Okay, so this is brand new. We just opened this up 2 weeks ago, and this is where we're doing our electronics integration, and then he's using a machine here that is pressing the cover shut. So one requirement of UL is you cannot break a battery open because it's unsafe. There's a lot of short circuit current potential. So I mentioned to you before that it's really critical to hire people that don't have any knowledge, but they have to be confident. And I also want women technicians working here. I believe that they're very dexterous, and they are. They're very fine. The problem is that these modules are 50 pounds apiece. So what's the solution to get more female workers here? Well, the solution is what's called a lifting arm. I'm looking for one of the lifting arms here. Oh yeah, we'll take a walk down here. So we have to keep away because of the static electricity. So quality control is critical. Can you just let her take a look? So remember we talked about the BMS, and this has a thermal convection barrier, which is the purple. And again, we never showed this to people. Not too close, right? But that's the BMS, and the heat sink is right there, and that heat sinks into the lid. And that means the MOSFETs run cooler. And you can open up your app and say, oh, my MOSFETs are running at such and such a temperature. So it's critical to have that thermal cooling. These are not white-collar batteries like Tesla. They're blue-collar, average guy batteries that don't have water cooling. Now, in a couple of weeks, I just hired a thermodynamic, I'm not even sure if that's his title, but he's an expert out of college in cooling system. So
Okay,
we're
thermodynamics.
Thermodynamic. We're going to be doing like an intercooler. We've got a customer shipping down some intercoolers. Okay, so this is where she is assembling the BMS and then dropping the case in. But I want to show you something really cool down this way.
Okay.
So, these just got put in yesterday, so they're not in use. So, anybody can just take this, come over, grab the battery, pick it up, lift it up, all air driven. There's the air compressor system, and then drop it into the case.
Cool.
And then pick up the whole battery.
It's like what they use in the automotive industry.
Yeah,
assembly
it's-
lines. It's the same.
Yeah.
They use them on, like, to put the seats in.
Yeah,
Because-
put the seats, lots of heavy things.
Even if the
moving
guy can
over.
pick it up, eventually he hurts himself.
repetitively.
Over
Yeah.
time, it's gonna really hurt people,
Yeah.
and I don't want that in this company. So yeah, I pamper my employees. You know, you do this for love. You don't do this for money. The money comes later, but you do this because you love the industry, you love the people. So this is 100% designed and built in-house. And again, we're just starting to deploy them. So this factory is only 2 weeks open, and you know, we're just now getting the automation in. So this is going to be building the highest volume batteries in the country right here. All right, I can't tell you where they're going. You'll find out in
Okay.
June. In June, everything changes in June.
All right, cool. What's happening here? It's just for helping to assemble bolts into something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I know
Okay.
sometimes we have these fixtures that place things, and then they can drive the bolts from the other side. It's just probably a low-cost assembly tool.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But we do
I like stuff like
we
that.
do plastic mold things like this to orient. Everything is measured in tenths of seconds, and I want to show you how we do that. So because there's hundreds of parts, a technician will open up and get work instructions. Oh, I'm building battery number 122 out of 200. So he pulls up all the documentation, and then everybody has a Microsoft Surface tablet, and they're able to build with confidence, because you can do anything as long as you've got great work instructions. And then so you see this young lady here, who is one of our most awarded technicians, by the way. We just had a big party and
Oh,
people won
congratulations.
various awards. I had to say that, right? So this gentleman here, I walk into one of my favorite restaurants, and he's the NeverDie. And he said, "Your last name is Tartaglia?" I said, "Yeah." "How did you know?" He says, "Well, I know your son, Matthew, who's going to give me a grandchild in a couple of weeks, by the way.
Congratulations.
But he knows Matthew." And I said, "Yeah, Matthew's my son." Next thing I know, I walk into the building one day, a couple of months ago, and he's working here. I'm like, where'd you come from? So this guy went from being a maitre d' in a restaurant to being a lithium-ion battery assembly technician.
Well, this is where
Why?
everything's going.
How can we do that? You've got to be able to train people, and they have to be able to have confidence. So hope that story didn't offend you, but good.
Awesome.
All right, we'll come on this way.
So these are just uncased here.
Right. They don't have the electronics. So if you look here, they need electronics. So we have to connect microprocessors and sensors so that where UL requires us to monitor the cell surface temperature, the bus bar surface temperature, you have to know where you're at. Like a speeding limit, right? You can set your car to dong you at certain miles an hour. That's exactly what the BMS is doing.
Okay.
Do you want a BMS to activate before it's too late? Or if something is happening? No, you want to know ahead of time, so it's proactive.
Anticipate, yeah.
It's all proactive, it's anticipation, correct. All right, come on this way. I want to show you this, I think it's really cool. Because we made- Yeah, these are all built in-house.
Oh, it's 80/20?
Yeah, very, very expensive. I mean, these carts, and if you noticed on there, they have the anti-static drag
Always
chain.
touching the ground.
Always touching the ground. Lola, I want to show you this. You love this?
Your labeling?
The labeling because of this. So if we are an engineering-driven company, we make the most complex batteries. But now watch what happens when you hit that QR code. So people don't want to print.
I don't know how my signal is. Oh, there you go. There you go.
There
So
you go.
guides.
Guides. How do I install it?
Very nice.
Keep going. Keep going. How do I use my? That's the gauge that's in the Galleria. How do I use my Bluetooth? Right? But we also have videos on that. These are 18-page installation guides. You know, there's 160 boutique van builders in the country.
Oh, so you can use this even to do your installation.
Installation. These are
Okay.
all, and includes the inverter and the solar charge. That was an enormous investment.
Yeah, that takes time to.
If you open one of those things up, you'd be blown away. But there's videos. How do I use my Bluetooth app? How do I rename my battery?
Cool.
So one complaint that we had on the Bluetooth app is, two complaints. I don't care state of charge. You look at one of those batteries, the batteries are like 30%. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's a static measurement. But then people said, can you change the app to read time left to full and time left to empty?
Right.
That makes sense.
That tells me something.
That tells you everything about
Yeah.
how long am I going to stay in bed for before I do something, right?
Right, yeah.
But the QR code is a way for people to scan and say, well, what's my storage procedure? You ask that question. Okay, it's right there. It's all under that one web page. It's taken us years to develop this.
Right.
And so, look, every company has to make a choice. You're B2B or you're B2C. Can any company be pure business to business and sell to people like the Newmars of the world and meet their demands, be ISO 9000, be UL listed and everything, and then make those people happy? Or are you going to cater to the consumer? You know, consumers, if something happens, they go sideways and they'll destroy your name in social
Well, consumers
media.
drive the market.
Consumers drive the market, but I would rather perfect the installation at the OEM level before a consumer does it. But that changed a little bit. You've got 160 boutique van builders. These guys are masters at woodworking, but what do they know about battery installation? So we've got about
not a lot.
15 guys to help them become electrical engineers. So if you go to that resources page, you open up a guide. It's how do I wire Victron? How do I wire a Kisei? How do I wire a Xantra? It's right there. It took us 6 months.
Did this
one
just
guide.
go online?
This went online. The online's been there, but the QR codes
QR
just
codes.
went online.
Very cool.
And it's really been a cool
I mean,
thing.
even for example, you said renaming. So that might not.
Rename the app. It's on there. There's
Yeah.
a video how to rename. Because if you go to a rally,
Everyone's got the same
Everybody's
thing.
got the same
Yeah, I don't know
batteries.
if I'm looking at mine, that guy's.
you don't know.
Yes,
you don't
that's really
know.
important.
That's
yeah.
important. But that, that was like a $30,000 app change. So, but we can
Okay.
get those changes done in 30 days because we've got our own code writers in house.
Yeah. Well, it's
Right.
taking notes.
No, I'm getting my code reader working again.
Oh. Well, you're on an iPhone. It should be.
I went to do it.
So
and
what
it
we can
said-
do, Lola, is we'll pause the
What did you do-
camera
what
and
did
I'm
you
going to
do?
do a
Yeah.
Bluetooth demo for you. I believe that the most important thing from an RV owner's perspective is what I call the user experience. Because we have control over our own firmware, we can make continuous improvements. So here we turn the battery on and then I hit discover. Oh, there's the battery. Well, Hank already said, wait a minute, you have to be able to rename it. That's your serial number. But see, I renamed this My Battery Number 1. But for you, it would be Hankenstein or
Right.
something like that. So now we press here, and that battery is at 41%. At the current rate of draw, the battery will sit. You're still powering a little bit of the BMS, but it's going to sit for 103 days. That answers your question, Walter. How long can the battery sit for if you're not going to maintain it? So the batteries
People ask me that all the time when if they're putting that away.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the number one tech support question that we get, and it's on that QR code. It's how to store the battery.
Well,
So
and everyone can't store it at home. So
correct.
They have to take it to maybe an RV place or some kind of.
But this
warehouse
is why we want a heater kit in every battery that we make. So now take a look here, Lola. This is where things get very interesting. So okay, that's my condition of the battery. What's my status? Well, I've got a BMS fault. I just disabled the charge. Why? Well, because the charger was doing something weird. So if you call me up, my battery shut itself off. Okay, remember I said ask why 5 times?
Right.
So why? Well, you're overcharging it. Okay, I had to disable. You overloaded the battery. Okay, my battery isn't working. Okay, well, open up the app. Well, you just set the NeverDie power reserve. Or you're in the low voltage state. You used up the 10% reserve. Go charge the battery. So
Now.
you see now,
Yeah.
exactly now.
Because you're
Okay.
damaging the battery when it's dead.
It's dead for
So
a
do you
certain
guys have
time.
a number that people call and
They just call the factory. We don't
Okay.
have automated attendants. We have human beings.
Okay.
Okay, now this is where things get really. I know, small thing, right? Oh my gosh, I hate robo.
that wasn't snarky at all.
Yeah, it's really snarky. You will never see me run a company without humans answering the phone. Okay, now how cool is this, right? Here's your terminal console. Remember that every 1
Yeah,
second?
look at that data go.
Okay, so I had this guy in Alaska. He wants to buy a Solarc solar charge controller. Well, I've never tested it. I said, okay, hook up that solar charge controller and then do this. Go to log, charge it, and email me that log
And it'll show you what it's doing to the.
to the battery.
To the
In
battery.
5 minutes, I said, that's a good solar charge controller. This guy is in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. And Solarc comes from Australia. I don't have time, but he wants to use it. He had it in his garage.
So what I'm noticing here is like batteries look dumb on the outside, but they can be really smart. I mean,
Exactly.
there's always a level of intelligence on the inside, but you guys are always thinking about
But
that.
all these imported batteries, they don't talk to you. I
Yeah,
want
they have
the
a
battery.
management.
They're
thing,
talking to they're
but
talking
it
to
doesn't
themselves.
talk to you. It doesn't tell you what it's doing.
It's not really a battery management system. It's not a BMS. It's a BPS. It's a battery protection system.
Oh, okay.
Right.
This is a battery management system, but it's the world's first bi-directional BMS where you can turn it on and off from your app. You can do all the different things. I mean, you have to have the security pin, which is coming. But now watch this. This is so cool. So I go to this screen. This is the good stuff. You ready? All right. We are the first company that will say total consumed. Let's say that you've got a 600 amp hour battery in your Coachmen. You take 600 amp hours times 2,000 minimum cycles, and let's say that's 1,200,000 amp hours of throughput. If you call me up and you say my battery has 100,000 amp hours on it and there's a problem, well, it's covered under warranty. But you call me up and you say my battery's dead. Well, open up the app. Oh, you've got 1,500,000 amp hours. It's an odometer. So how can a 2-year-old company or a 3-year-old company give a 10-year warranty? It doesn't make sense to me, but all these importers are doing it. For us, it's not a subjective warranty, it's an objective warranty. I can't lie to you, and you can't lie to me. It's the world's first state of health. Now, what happens if you call me up and say, well, gee, I got 500,000, but now you go in here and it says here, oh, aging factor SOC. Well, gee, I have 100,000 hours, but 100,000 of those amp hours were sit at full charge. So I'm recording how often you keep that battery at full aging temperature, aging factor temperature. If you've got
So you know
100,000,
whether someone's taking care of it or not.
you know why I do this? I do this because I don't like the fact that my competitors are using warranty as a marketing tool. It's not a marketing
Well,
tool.
it works great if they never actually have to fulfill that, right?
But what if they do?
It's when you.
Here's
do
what you
have to
do.
fulfill
You
it,
you
yeah.
send me the battery, I'll let you know if I give you any money back. That's not Lithionics battery. We speak with data. And here's how we speak with data. I want
I mean, if the company is still there.
if the well, see, that's the thing, okay? You know, my wife and I, who you'll meet at lunchtime, we sold everything. We sacrificed everything to build this company. And I didn't take any investor money. Do you know why I didn't take any investor money? If you take investment money, you better put numbers up on the board. Well, how do you increase your sales? You make less profit, you give away crazy warranties, or you put batteries where they don't belong. So for us, every customer has to fill out a sheet. Where are you going to put this in the RV? What are you going to charge it with? What's your highest temperature? What's your lowest temperature? What % of the year are you going to run the battery versus store the battery? All these things help us design the right kit. When we realize in the RV industry that people are going to store these things, well, guess what? You got to have a heater kit. Now, our heater kit is so efficient, it's automatic, not manual like our competition, who has a heater kit, and I congratulate them for that. But our solar panel, a simple solar panel, can keep that heater kit running. What does a heater kit do? It microcycles the battery.
Keeps it at the optimum temperature.
Optimum temperature, and it's doing these minuscule charge and discharge cycles, which is really happy. So you can keep the battery at 100%, but you got to cycle the battery. The heater kit cycles the battery. So that's the Bluetooth app. There's more coming. There's a lot more coming. So what's important to Lithionics battery? It is the user experience, but it's the people. And I don't know if you filmed this, but we just had an awards ceremony. And this to me is what the whole company is all about. I hired a lot of young people who didn't know anything, but their minds were like sponges. And this is an award that we designed and gave to people that have been here for a decade. People matter, experience matters, but these are people that created something from nothing. Nobody was building RV batteries. We've been doing it for years. So everybody hits a couple of home runs. It's the base hits. You hit base hit after base hit. It's all continuous improvement, and you need a lot of in-house engineers to do that. But we call this the honorary zero to hero. This company has gone from zero to being pretty big. I know
And that's with all these people that came on board
and
helped you
they
from 10
have
years
not
ago.
lost anybody. Everybody has stayed here because of what you said. You have to find ways of taking care of people, and it's a dynamic culture. We share financials with our associates. We pay profit sharing.
Awesome.
There's a lot of things. We have quarterly profit sharing. We have a 401k program. If I went to China to do this stuff, the government pays for all that. So do you think I'm at a disadvantage against Chinese imports? Of course I am.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a different dynamic, but I never gave up. I didn't want to give up, and my passion is making USA jobs, creating USA jobs.
Yeah.
And so who are the best people in the world? People who create, not destroy. People who build people up, not people who break people down. And that's the culture that exists here, and there's a lot of industry here. There's a lot of big corporations, but people are not happy at the big corporations. They want to be part of the action, and they want to be able to share their ideas. So if you look at our most primitive battery, it's still more advanced than anybody else out there. But all those ideas that you saw out there, they're not me. Those are ideas. My marketing guy came up to me 4 years ago. Hey, I think I want to design a heater kit. Now, I could have said to him, you're marketing guy. What do you know about that, right? No, go for it, man. If I said no because he's not an engineer, I would not have gotten that heater kit. It was invented by marketing. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They get on the floor. Now, sometimes I got to watch them a little bit. But it's like...
That's the way it should be. And I think
Right.
also, like, the flip side of that is for that time you've had people, really believing in what you guys do. So I know from my point of view, being a Coachmen Beyond owner, the guys at Coachmen, they really believe in you guys. Class B, that I can speak to the Class B side of Coachmen. They really believe in Lithionics, and that's the reason why they're like, listen, you got to go down there and check these guys out. Find out what they're all about. Before we move on or even wrap up the video here, I know Lola wanted me to just let you talk to people on camera a little bit about what you were just saying. Why did you start Lithionics? What was the mission? And what do you think is the future of what you guys are doing here?
Well, that's an interesting story. What if somebody called me up one day in April of 2001 and said, 911, 9/11 is going to happen in September. My wife and I sold everything, and we bought the biggest RV that we could buy because we had gotten hints about 9/11 happening. Now, that's not the only reason. As a young man, I traveled. I had another big company. I was so tired of airplanes. I was so tired of hotel rooms. And you just get nauseous. And people got nauseous about staying in hotels. And during COVID, they wanted their freedom back. And so it's always been about the RV market. But the RV market, when I started the company, was in a recession. So I took this to the Marine. What's the difference between a yacht and an RV? There's no difference. They have multiple charging sources. They have multiple alternators and diesel generators. And so I won an award 10 years ago in Monaco, France. It was presented to me by Prince Albert because Monaco's marina developed a diesel exclusion policy. So we got this green award in Monaco again, long before the RV market realized all this stuff. So even though we're getting awards for what we're doing on the green side, I wanted the RV market. And so Road Trek was such a great experience. We took all that Road Trek knowledge, we brought it to people, and who are the early adopters? You see people that will copy, they'll wait, is it safe to go, is it safe to go? People like Winnebago and Newmar and Coachmen and other companies, they were pioneers. I mean, Coachmen was the pioneer, and then Winnebago was like right behind him, almost at the same time, but this whole concept of running a rooftop air conditioner is something that, does the customer want to buy it? So people say, I sell RVs and I'm not in the battery business. Some of these batteries are 30 grand, 50 grand. Go to the King Air. It's a very expensive upgrade. They sell every one they can make. Right now, my capacity is sold out. I have to hire more people in the new factory that you just saw, and we'll catch up. I mean, we're booked, but we're going to keep up with the industry. So people 10 years ago would say, well, do you run these batteries? Like, no, I can't afford them. I was starting up a company, of course. The point is that they started out as a rich man's battery, and now it's the average person's desire. So I want to leave you with a philosophy of when you own a USA company, I tell all my people, if you're the same company today that you were a year ago, you're in trouble. And if you are the same company a year from now, or even the same person a year from now that you are today, you're in trouble. So you have to continuously obsolete what you have, and this is why you see new product after new product after new product. But I will tell you this, you're the first to hear this, Hank and Lola. In the month of June or July, we're going to be launching what we consider is the dream battery for an RV, but I can't talk about it yet. So I will not even tell you the name of the project, okay? But
we'll wait patiently.
Yeah,
Not really.
This is so revolutionary, and I wish I could tell you, but if you come back, you'll be the first person to see it once it's public information.
Well, that I think we can make happen.
I think you should.
Yeah, I'll just have to borrow Walt's palm tree, but I'm willing to do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Lola. It was
thanks so
lovely
much,
to
Steve. I really
meet you.
appreciate it. And
Walter?
Yeah, great meeting you.
absolutely, and thanks to everyone else here that works with you. That was really, they were really very patient with us and let us do this. This is the first time that I've actually been able to show my audience inside of a factory of what's going on with these batteries. And just to bounce off of what you said, this is like game changer for what we can do. A lot of the other stuff in a van has been around for a long time, but the ability to actually go out there and plug everything in you need and to be able to really live on the road and be comfortable comes out of stuff like this. So it was really cool to see what's going on.
Well, I'll leave you. I said I'd leave it on one note, but I want to tell you, here's the next wave. Once we develop the world's highest energy density batteries that consume the least amount of space and deliver the most amount of power, which you'll see those batteries coming out, what is the next big horizon? So we talked about energy density. We talked about high-speed charging, which is coming. Here's the next thing, the consumable. So what if you have a rooftop air conditioner that's at 1,600 running watts, and somebody invents a rooftop air conditioner that's half? Either the battery gets half as expensive, or you get twice the runtime. So now that we've got enough engineers on staff where I can let them develop all these battery RVC telemetry technologies, I'm focused on working with the rooftop air conditioner makers to make them more efficient.
Okay.
And we've already got, like for example, there's a company called Nomadic Cooling, Jonathan Wysocki, great guy, started up the company, brilliant. We did a test in the Revel. The Revel might have been consuming 1,300 watts. Utah van built with these two batteries, he got the running watts down to 800. 800, which is incredible. You're talking like a 40-50% improvement. That means that you're going to run 1.5 times longer on rooftop air. So we've got that DC powered, not AC powered, not converted from an inverter, but we have that DC powered air conditioner running in a bunch of test vans right now.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
it's going to revolutionize now. Nick, he uses the Truma. Oh my gosh, what an amazing kit. 3-stage power up, 1200.
The
The new one is
yes,
1200
pretty
Grundy
cool.
watts. And Truma, I admire that company. And there's proof positive that you can make something in Germany, and the RV industry will buy it. So, is the RV industry going from buy the cheapest to buy the best? Some are.
I know I would want to do that. I think people are looking at these as more long-term investments, right? They're expensive, especially in the vans. You know, they're expensive for their size. So yeah, I want to make a long-term, investment. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it was great to meet you guys. So
Same here.
We appreciate you coming, and now this has been a secret factory, but because of you guys, it's not secret anymore.
Wide open. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
thank
that,
you.
Steve.
All right, take care.
Thanks. All right, guys, I want to remind you that we have these VanNoisSeur T-shirts, and a new one is out. This is Campfire by Moonlight. New VanNoisSeur T-shirt, that's how you pronounce that. If you're a fan of Class B camper vans, whether it's Sprinter, ProMaster, or the Transit, you can get these T-shirts, show your love for that, and support Stranger Palooza. And we don't have any logos or anything like that on it. Plus, you can get Stranger Palooza T-shirts. If you look down here in YouTube, there's a store down there. You could check out the store, get this and other designs. And from Lola and myself, who did all the work designing this, thanks very much. See you on the next one.